Downtown Fargo, where culture, creativity, and community collide. You've heard the headlines. Now hear what's really happening. Bringing the best of Broadway direct to you. The stories, the people, and the places that make downtown the heartbeat of our city. This is Rocky's Downtown Hour with Rocky Schneider.
Happy Friday, everybody. This is Rocky Schneider with the Downtown Community Partnership on Rocky's Downtown Hour. So today is a big day in my household. It's the official first day of summer because Fargo schools ended yesterday. So I know there's a lot of kids out there that are probably bored and missing math class right now and just wondering, waiting till fall comes around. But there is a lot going on, a lot to do this summer. So I know parents are probably figuring out if you haven't booked your camps or your sports yet, what can you do? And so I want to cover today some of that stuff as summer's heating up. I know West Fargo and a lot of other regional schools have been out for a couple weeks. They've been lucky, but for those Fargo kids that are near downtown, there's a lot going on. And so hopefully if you don't have plans already or you're looking ahead, and we can talk about what's going on and enjoy summer. But this last week we had a lot of people downtown. We had our first concert series on Wednesday with Mason Jennings. We had, I think, it's tough when you have a free event, which is great, but it's tough to count the heads because they come and go. But I think we had somewhere between 300 and 500 total people at the concert. It was packed at Broadway Square. People brought chairs. We had chairs there. We had standing tables, and it's kind of different seating for everybody, and everybody enjoyed. It was kind of standing room only, but there were still spots if you had brought your own chair. So we're looking forward to the next one on July 2nd, inviting everybody back out. You could kind of see some of the parents my age at about 9 o'clock realizing we better get home because we got kids' school in the morning. But that won't be a problem in July, and so we're just pumped about that. It was fun to see everybody out enjoying the nice weather. We had if you read about them, the new security bollards on 2nd Avenue got installed for the first time. It felt like a legit, event corridor in a big city. We're very safe. We had the police out there with their new electric trikes. If you haven't seen them, I think they feel like RoboCop, and at least they feel like RoboCop, and so that's great. But they've been fun. They zip around, and it's been great to get them out in the community. They can engage with people. They can wave and talk back, and you could just see the people walk up to them and say, "What's going on here? This looks interesting." And so they got to show off their new vehicles and all the cool equipment they have, and how they're more effective in a downtown environment than the police cars. And so they can really be out and about. They can hop off them right away if they need to. They don't have to find a parking spot. They don't block traffic, all those things. And so we're looking forward to that. But what I'm looking forward to after the show, now that it's June in downtown Fargo is also big because we have the Downtown Fargo Burger Royale. There's 18 different restaurants in downtown that do this competition, and they enter the arena with their burgers, and you get to vote on your favorite. I think last year the winner was a Lefse burger, and that was a good one. And at the Sons of Norway, and so I think that was a fun one. But there's a lot of unique ones, and so I'm trying to figure out with my team back at the office about where we should go. And so we're looking through all the pictures. DowntownFargoBurgerRoyale.com. They have all the pictures of all the burgers, and it just makes your mouth water. You can try all 18 if you're really ambitious and can get around to 18 different things. What we've learned as we go, and we cut the burgers up so that you can even go to a couple different places because they're big burgers. They're usually topped with something extra, some fun different toppings or different kinds. I know like JL Beers has a Euro burger. I think Blarney Stone has one with chorizo on top. And so we kind of going through the list trying to figure out what we do. Usually there's a breakfast burger out there and those sort of things. So yeah, anyways, check it out. 18 locations. If you like burgers, if you're gluten-free, you can eat it without the bun. It's still going to be delicious. A lot of toppings. So it's a fun way to get out there. But also going on this summer, if you haven't checked out the Fargo Library, the downtown library just has a ton of programming. I know on Monday they have this Color Fun kickoff, and it's all sorts of activities that go along with that. Check it out, though. Every day they have something different. Father's Day, they got a lot of reading things coming up. Love that. Every Tuesday at Fargo Theater, I know we had them on the show a couple weeks ago, but every Tuesday they have $3 movie tickets. And I like to think, usually when you have the cheap movies, you get cheap movies. But they have newer movies, Wild Robots playing this Tuesday, and my son actually cried at that movie, so it was pretty sweet. They are on twice a day. I think it's at 10 a.m. and at 1 p.m. So there's 2 showings during the day. They also have a $3 concession special. So it's, if you're looking for a cheap outing for a few hours, get your kids in there And the nice part is with kids movies is there's other kids there. So it's okay if your kids are loud. That's how it works. You don't bring them to a fancy theater for a new movie and then you worry about them making a peep. No, they can be a little loud. There's other kids there. It's going to happen. It's okay. Everyone's just there to have fun. But I know later this season too, they have like Minecraft, they have Moana 2, other sort of big movies coming up. But of course, my favorite activity is always at Broadway Square. The splash pad's up and running. Kids running through there every day. I think it's open at 10 a.m. right now and runs until I think 8 p.m. or something like that. But we adjust those hours as the season goes on and it gets warmer. So we're pretty excited about that. Every day there's kids out there right away in the morning. Easy. Broadway Square is the best place to go because you can go for 2 minutes or 2 hours. If you just need a quick outing, find a parking spot, take your kids out. You don't have to buy a ticket. It's not a parking pass, or a pool pass or anything like that. If you just need to get out of the house for a little bit. But next week, also excited, we're going to have Park Board member Aaron Hill on the show, and we're going to talk about Island Park Pool opening up. But all the pools are opening up, I think, this coming week. And Island Park, I'm not sure if they have an opening day yet, but their last email I saw said mid-June. And so we're getting pretty close to mid-June. If you haven't driven by Island Park Pool, I think it'll probably be, I have no way to validate this, but I think it'll be the best pool in the entire state for an outdoor pool. It's got this. So growing up at Island Park, a couple blocks from there, my first job was at Island Park. I got married at Island Park. So it was always sort of a rite of passage through my life. But the high dive at Island Park Pool was the rite of passage growing up. And I remember going up there, and I think every kid has the same story. You get to the top and you look down and you're like, I'm not doing this. And then you turn around and there's 6 kids looking up at you already on the ladder waiting to go. And you're like, I'm stuck. And you jump and you pray and, to every God you can think of on the way down, and you splash and you're fine. And so, but this time now, if you haven't driven by there, you got to drive by there. They got one of these like launch water slide things. And I feel like that's way more intimidating than the high dive. And so I'm excited to watch kids go off of it, and I'll have to try it at some point. But if you haven't driven by it, check it out. They have a lazy river and all the new stuff that you expect there. So we're really excited. And the best part about the pool for our little downtown community too, if you're a business owner listening or something, it draws about 50 to 60,000 visits every year, the Island Park Pool, every summer. And so it's been closed for the last 2 years. And so we've noticed a decrease in sort of that family activity. A lot of that is due to the pool. People are going up to North High or South High or Davies or just to the lake or whatever else. But those, you can drop your kids off there, go run errands, go eat lunch, go grab ice cream afterwards, those type of things. And so we look to get all that population back down, hopefully draw it in as a tourist destination now too, since it's all new and cool. I'm excited about this show for a lot of reasons, because I think last couple we've had some policy folks on, and that is very important to talk about the news of the day. But I also want to use this hour every Friday to talk about the stories of downtown and trying to do podcast like stories with people about coming downtown and what they're doing, sharing stories. And so today on our show, we have a friend of mine, Tammy Jo Taft, is going to be on. She's a mom, a rural resident out in rural Cass County. She's similar to me. She moved away and moved back to the area. And she's one of those people that comes downtown to enjoy the culture and sort of introduce her kids to that way of life while she can also maintain her rural life. So we'll talk to her and all the connections to downtown coming up after the break. But I also want to share one last piece of news. I'm really excited about that. Everyone probably saw, but the Toasted Frog that had announced it was closing, the owners were moving on to other things. Toasted Frog has sold, and there will be a seamless transition. So cheesy pickles will remain a menu item of choice in downtown Fargo. And so Toasted Frog is been a fixture for a long time and a favorite, and it's still busy even after the announcement that the owners were going to move on. So I think that'll be great for downtown and great for sort of the resiliency of Broadway there too. But otherwise, coming up next, we have Tammy Jo, mom of 3, rural resident aficionado, and we'll talk about why she's here to talk about downtown. We're excited to talk with everybody. See you when we get back. Welcome back to Rocky's Downtown Hour. I'm joined with Tammy Jo Taft. Tammy, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for asking me. I'm glad to be here.
So who is Tammy Jo?
Me, myself, and I, all 3 of us all together. Well, I grew up in Arthur, and I went to college in Iowa, moved to Guam for about 10 years, and then moved back. And I love writing, so I've done a lot of newspaper writing, things like that. But I've always loved Arthur, and we live outside of town. We live on the other side of the tracks from Arthur.
Yeah.
So
The other side of the tracks.
yeah, right, a little bit west.
No, so this is kind of interesting. So Tammy, not a downtown, you don't work downtown, you don't live downtown.
Yep.
Very rural resident. Tammy and I have similar trajectories in life. We both sort of left for college, decided to come back to this region. I think we both like access to the outdoors and also to the urban areas that Fargo provides, but we're very different. I'm a city boy. She's a country girl.
I would say you're 100% a city boy.
That's why I have a radio show about downtown.
And that's why I had to clean my fingernails before I came here today.
Yeah, she took off her work boots before she came in.
And I even brushed my hair. So this is a fancy thing for me.
But so why are you here to talk about downtown?
So, well, when we were talking about it, and I was telling you that, I think everyone in rural Cass County and rural areas around Fargo-Moorhead, they all have some connection to downtown, whether they really think about it that way or not. And so I was thinking about it in relation to myself, and my grandma used to take the train from Hunter. And so long story short, she used to take a train from Hunter after she graduated from high school to come to downtown and go to Interstate Business College. And then when she got her degree, she went back to Hunter and met my grandpa, and then they farmed, etc. So you have people in your lives like that and times in your lives like that where possibilities appear because downtown is in close proximity to you. And so that train track from Castleton all the way up to Blanchard is now closed, and it's a beautiful 7-mile bike ride if you want. Don't do it when there's a stiff north wind.
Don't get me tempted now. We'll just talk about biking the rest of the time.
I know, I'm sorry. But if it's a really strong wind, go south instead of north. But so it's not a train track anymore. So life is different now. I'm not taking the train to town, but there's still those connections there, right? And I think about both my parents went to NDSU. They have stories from downtown. I'm sure that, when my great-great-grandparents showed up in rural Cass County, they came through downtown. It probably looked a lot different. And even just thinking about some of those stories that bring people downtown, when we used to go school shopping, we used to go to Northern School Supply. And I remember how the inside of that building looked and felt and smelled. It was such a thing, right? That's where we did all of it until they closed. And I don't know, downtown is just kind of a place like that where you have these specific memories of times that you're either with family or doing something special, right? I love living out. We live out in section 31 of Arthur Township, right? And I love it. Yesterday we were sitting outside watching some rain roll in with the kids and watching birds and things like that. But to be able to come and, for example, go to a great show or do a family activity that's free, like the splash pad and that kind of thing, it really just adds so much quality of life. And so, yeah, I just really think everybody's got connections like that to downtown.
Yeah, we track all the visitors to downtown through cell phones these days, which is great.
And creepy, but great.
Creepy, but yeah, just don't think too hard about it.
Okay.
But yeah, so we get 5 million visits to downtown every year from about 600,000 different people. And you start tracking down where that's from. Only about half of those visitors are from Fargo. Maybe up to 2/3 are from, the immediate metro area. So that means we're getting a lot of people in from, other cities, obviously, but all across North Dakota, Minnesota. Yep. For all sorts of things. So Interstate Business College, I think one of the buildings is still there right on Roberts Street. If people aren't familiar with it, it's been defunct now for a little while, but it was in business for, 80 years or something like that.
And Northern School Supply, the building is NDSU now, right?
Yep, that's Renaissance Hall. It was kind of started the kickoff of the Renaissance of downtown Fargo in 2004. And so that's, those stories live on.
Well, and the train, everybody's got a train. I don't know, you cannot live in North Dakota and not love trains, I think, because they're just everywhere, right? Yeah. And it's one of those. You can
actually read a book The History of Railroads in North Dakota, written by my Uncle Richard.
Oh, really?
There you go.
That sounds like a real page turner.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Is
it really good?
I haven't read it.
You haven't read it?
No, but yeah.
Come on.
I know.
He's your uncle.
Why'd you go there? Yeah.
I don't know. You brought it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my dad used to work for the railroad, and so did my grandpa. And so I don't know, those things that connect us. There's not that many people from North Dakota, right? And so there's these certain kind of touch point things that everybody has been there or done that kind of thing, right? Everybody's probably had a Sandy's donut, and everybody's.
You know what?
I'm ready.
Today is National Donut
That's
Day.
why I brought it up. I know.
Way to drop the name of Sandy's Donuts.
I know.
So yeah, National Donut Day. Everyone, I don't know if there's a burger, like a donut burger, but Sandy's should have collabed on a donut burger. So next year. Sandy's.
Next year.
National Donut Day.
Okay, well, there you go. Everyone's got a mission for today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we moved to Guam, or I moved to Guam and then met my better half and we got married and lived there for a long time. And when he decided to get out of the Navy, we were looking at places to go, and we were thinking about coming back here. And one of the things about, like, he's not from here. He's from South Carolina. And we lived in
Pickens
Guam.
County.
It's true. Pickens. You got to say it. I can't say it right.
Yeah,
I can't
got
even.
no accent.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I can pluck a banjo.
Our kid the other day, our littlest, he said, let's go to the hotel. Anyways, we were looking at places to move. And, this was one of the options, was coming back here and living close to family. And in Guam, you have access to, like, the world, right? Guam used to be the center hub for continental Micronesia. And so you could fly to Bali or the Philippines or Japan, like Korea, anywhere you wanted to go super easily. And so when we looked at coming back here, maybe looked a little bit like, oh, you're moving literally to the middle of nowhere, but it's not, right? Places like downtown make it not that way. And like I said, I love rural Cass County. I love being out there. I love living next to people that I've lived next to my whole life. I love going to the post office and there only being 200 boxes there and knowing, everybody. But I really think that what has kept us here is being able to go downtown and, go to Little Brother and have some Korean food, because that used to be such a big part of our lives. And I'm a cook, but I'm not a good Korean cook.
Yeah, and now your boys can experience both parts of your history too.
Yeah, that's
they
right.
Can get your rural upbringing, enjoy the farm life.
Yep.
But then they can also be introduced to city life.
Well, I definitely want them to, I don't know, if you've ever eaten Kelly's Mac Salad and Arthur at the cafe, it's the best, right? I want them to know that. But I also want them to know what good curry tastes like and, what good noodles are from other places and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I think sometimes downtown, we got kids stereotypes for a reason too. You got to be a hipster to go to the coffee shops and things. But most people downtown are they're not living there. There's a lot of people who live downtown, but like they come there for a reason. They go to an event. They want to, expand their food horizons or everything else. And that's what downtown's for. It's for everybody to come in and experience. It doesn't mean you got to do that every day of your life, but it's there when you want something different.
Yep. And I remember, so it must have been like 2012, maybe. We had come back I think we came back for Thanksgiving, and it just so happened that Jake Shimabukuro was here with his ukulele. And so here we come all the way across the world, and we couldn't get tickets for him in Guam when he came to Guam because he's so popular. And then we come to Fargo, and oh, shoot, there's tickets right there. We can go see him at the Fargo Theater instead. And so that kind of, there's more access to things as well for, he's not going to come to Arthur, right? But 45 minutes away, we can come see him at the Fargo Theater.
Yeah, I think I like what you said, because if we didn't have downtown Fargo in this proximity, I think we'd lose a lot more of our rural residents. Because
You think so? Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, for you and I who moved back, that needed that close connection. I think Minneapolis is a road too far.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
we'd lose a lot. And I think in our generation, even we lost a lot of people to Minneapolis or to Denver or somebody that wanted that big city experience. But I've also seen a lot of those people said that's too big.
Yep.
And so they want a Fargo sized or something similar. And so it's a good mix. We also like to make fun of each other. But I think what I've always appreciated, I've known Tammy and worked with Tammy on a lot of big regional projects over the years. And I think showing that you can be from different backgrounds and still come together and enjoy what we have in this region. And I think downtown's melting pot, if you want to overuse the term, but you don't have to be the same type of person to enjoy the same things. And
that's true.
To talk and have a good time, and it's okay to laugh at our fake artificial grass that we have in downtown.
Oh, we should. So when Rocky and I worked together, one time we came out of a building, and where was that? It was right.
Yeah,
it was on Broadway,
the old rubber
right?
stamp, Fargo Rubber Stamp building, where Botanical Brothers is now. Yeah.
And so they had put down this like fake grass. And I just laughed about that for like 10 years. Like, it's summer in North Dakota. Do we really need fake grass? Apparently so. I'm sure that there was a really good reason and purpose for it.
I think that's when they had the farmers market over there. And so
okay.
now
Yeah.
the farmers market's by Broadway Square. And
So you probably don't want people getting muddy.
but we also
stuff.
have turf on Broadway Square. So,
But I mean, okay, so turf on Broadway with that many kids like ripping stuff up, I absolutely get that, right? But oh, that just made me laugh. It was, to me, that was like the epitome of fancy Fargo, right? Okay, we have fake grass. It's the middle of summer. Like, grass grows like crazy here, you know?
So yeah, we won't even get to the story about Tammy at a spin class getting stuck on her bike and trying,
Thanks, Dean Vetter.
These things are for everybody, but maybe not for Tammy. So
that's right, but there's still things for me.
so when we come back, we're going to talk about what are Tammy's favorite things. What has she brought her, date night for? What does she bring her kids to in downtown? And talk about what's going on.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. Happy Friday, everybody. If you haven't been listening, we're joined with Tammy Jo. She's a rural resident who loves her farm life and is a professor at Valley City State, and so spends
assistant professor.
Mm-hmm. Like, maybe you'll get a raise after this show.
I doubt it.
Your communication ability is outstanding.
Not in it for the money.
Yeah. If you want to sponsor this show, we can pay our guests. But yeah, so Tammy's here to talk about the connection to downtown that really everybody in the region has as a mom, as a resident, as a descendant of past generations here. There's a lot of connections to downtown, and we're talking about some of the history. But right now, what do you look at when you decide what to do on the weekend? Like, how do you decide when you're going to stay home, or when maybe there's something going on culturally, or something you want to bring your kids to, or a date night?
Well, the first thing we look at is, do we have a babysitter?
True.
We have 3 boys that are a good time, but they're 5. He just had a birthday, 5, 7, and 8. And so they're busy. And so if we got a babysitter, that's great. But if it's something that we can take them to that they will enjoy, like all the things that the library does, oh my goodness. Like, if you needed any other reason to support public libraries, seriously, think about all of the parents in your lives that take their kids to the library for activities, for, exposure to books, finding new books that they like. Like, the library is, if you have not had kids, you don't realize how much of an impact the library makes for parents and families that way.
So before I tell this stat, there's the Happy Harry's Rib Fest going on at the Fargo Dome. But my favorite stat about the library, as a past president of the Friends of the Fargo Public Library, they get more visitors than the Fargo Dome does every year.
Oh, I believe that.
Just to show, obviously it's a day-to-day thing versus Fargo Dome is, weekend events type thing. But it's just crazy to think about the amount of people that use the Fargo Library.
And that's exactly what it is. You use it, right? Like, you use it as an activity for your kids. We use it as hey, do a good job doing all your chores, and we'll go to the library today. And it's a very exciting thing. And so, yeah, so that's one thing. Like, if it's an activity where kids can come with, that's great. Like the parades downtown, that's always a big highlight for them, right? You get to go to Fargo, you get to, maybe we'll have some special supper beforehand, and then we'll get we'll go down to the parade, and they just love it.
And after they go to sleep, parents get to steal all their favorite candies out of their bags.
I take their candy to my classroom, actually.
Oh, there we go.
And so, yeah, you can always tell the good stuff because it's kind of been dropped on the ground a few times, that kind of thing.
I like to think I'm a pretty generous dad, but my kids learned very early on that if they get 100 grand bar, that's dad's. I actually saw
$100,000. Nobody gives those out anymore.
I think well, they do a little bit because I get them.
Oh,
but
really?
I remember last Halloween, I was walking up to a house with my son, and they had 100 gram bars, and he looked at me and goes, 100 gram bars, Dad. And he went to grab one, then he went, huh, and then he grabbed something different, and then grinned at me, knowing that if he took the other one, he'd have to give it to me. So, yeah.
And you were too nice to take one for yourself?
Yeah.
Yep.
I could probably afford to get my own.
Those are such a good candy bar, though. The crispy outside, they're really good.
It's a good mix.
Yeah, it really is.
So parades are great for that.
Oh, and the parades downtown are they're so neat, right? Because they've so many lights and so much to see, and there's just so much happening. It's really exciting.
Yeah, and we try to, we put on the Excel Energy Holiday Lights Parade in December, and the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Yep. We have the Pride Parade coming up, I think, August 8th or 9th. August anyways. And,
so good.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of parades going on, and they're all organized. The police do a good job with us to, barricade everything. People are out. So, yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, those are good. So if we can find a babysitter, though, and we figure out what we're going to do, Usually it is, okay, let's go out and we're either going to go have dinner or go meet somebody for drinks or something like that and then do something. Whether that's sometime, honestly, it's going to Fleet Farm because we need something, or like the trip actually, like we have to have something. But sometimes there's things happening. Like, I don't know if you remember Dave Chappelle came like, I don't know, 10 years ago. That I've been to a lot of shows, and that was the best show I have ever seen in my life. It was amazing.
I think rural residents are Dave Chappelle's like money, isn't that where he's going?
Yeah. It was so, like, he is so brilliant. It was just a really great. And so that night, like, we came to town early. We had a piece of pizza at Spicy Pie, and then we walked around downtown, walked over to the Civic Center, and then walked back to our cars and went home. And so we just went to the Dude Dad. I don't know if you know him.
Dad.
Dude Dad, yeah, where they did this whole hilarious bit about what do you do about those clothes that you've worn once? They're not dirty. Do you put them in the dirty clothes basket, or do you put them next to the dirty clothes basket because they're not quite dirty and you're going to wear them again?
Yeah, I put them next to my clean clothes that are also on the floor.
No, see, that's what he does. Nope. And anyways, I have a spot where I hang them. But anyways, that was the big debate that they had. But it was a great show. It was funny. And the Fargo Theater was packed.
Yeah.
I didn't see really any.
I mean, every show they have there, 800 people show up.
Yeah, it's great. And it's never difficult to get in the door there. Like you would think with that many people, it's long lines and that kind of thing. But no, like we had enough time to stop and have a beverage before and then go have a great time.
Great Friday. So I know another thing that we lack in this side of the state, and I think that's an issue, but we have no state park in eastern North Dakota.
And Cass County only has one.
Has one park.
And do you know that's like 5 miles from my house?
And so
Brewer Lake. Have you been there?
Give a shout out to Brewer Lake. What should Fargo residents leave and go do there?
Oh, Brewer Lake is so great. Okay, so it's a no-wake lake. So you can bring like a canoe and nobody's going to like scream by you on a jet ski and knock you over. It's so peaceful. It's kind of down in like a little valley, and it's really like the sunsets there are so amazing. Camping is awesome there. They've got hookups with all kinds of things. It's super cheap. There's a little beach there that you can play in. The water gets a little bit scuzzy later in the summer, so go right now because it's beautiful. There's a play area. There's like a shelter, like a whole shelter with picnic tables so you can have parties. I think I had every birthday party from like, I don't know, 3rd grade to like 8th grade there.
Brewer Lake.
There's tennis courts. There's full bathrooms. My dad helped put the tennis courts up. So
we have one county park, no state parks, but we have an awful lot of parks in Fargo.
Yep.
Wide variety. Obviously, we talked about pools. Island Park Pool's opening up here in a couple weeks. Yep. But we have parks galore, and you can do all sorts of things by yourself.
Yep.
Bird watching. You can go out with kids at Splash Pad. Yeah.
We come to town specifically to go sledding. So we can go, like, we have a few little hills, and we used to go sledding down by the river and stuff. But if we're looking for a real legit...
I think we all know there are no hills as you drive across North Dakota. Yeah.
But the dike, like so last winter when we came in, even though we didn't have that much snow, I think we came in like 2 days after there was some snow, and some kids had built these like legit awesome jumps at the dike, and I have 3 boys, and so I have these amazing photos of them like sailing off these jumps and just eating it, just like yard sailing at the bottom. It's so cheap and awesome, and it's right next to downtown. So yeah, that's one of our favorite places to go in the winter.
So one of my first jobs was actually handing out inner tubes at the dike.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you remember those old, they used to do like the straw bales to go up?
Yeah.
Do you remember those? So one time we were going up, my brother and I, and somebody at the top like fell and like everybody fell down. It was like dominoes. It was
back
hilarious.
When you wish people had cell phone cameras just to capture those moments. But yeah.
1980s, a dangerous time.
All I remember being young, I felt like I must have gone up and down 100 times. But as an adult, walking up a hill in the snow.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard, right?
It's so hard.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It is tough. I'll do it once, and I'll go down with them once. But it also
it's a good
has
way
to
to wear
be
out the kids, though.
When there's like fresh, fluffy snow, because like when it gets to be that icy snow, I mean, my tailbone and the chiropractor don't like either one of those things.
But I mean, Island Park's, I think, the jewel of Fargo in a lot of ways. It's huge. There's a lot going on there. It's even underutilized. You can go there and sit by yourself and nobody will bother you.
And the play structure there is awesome. It's amazing. Like it's really great.
I'm actually kind of terrified. They have like that 3rd level
Yep.
slide.
I
And
know.
your kids go up there and you're like, I don't think they can fall out of there, but that's a long ways up there.
It is.
I think they feel like empowered because
Yep.
they're like, good luck climbing up your dad.
Yeah.
You know, there's that tiny ladder at the last one that, you
Yep.
know, just barely fit through as an adult.
Yep, that's right. That is, and you know, speaking of that kind of area, one thing too that we really appreciate about downtown is that, so my husband works at Marvin, which is great. They are a wonderful employer. And after he gets out, like if we have time, he'll go to the gym, and we choose to go to that Y that's downtown because it's a little bit easier for him to get to, but it has a pool, and that is an amazing facility. Like they do a great job with activities, and you know, it's just a great facility. And so having something like that where you can go there and you can go to Babs and get a cup of coffee on your way home, so you're ready to deal with kids, it's a game changer, right? It's that kind of stuff that makes it all work.
Yeah, I mean, what I always like about downtown is it's like a small town. We have all mom and pop owned stores.
Yep.
You're always helping out, you know, somebody that probably lives in a neighborhood somewhere around here, and so like you're gonna run into them every day, walking around. You're gonna see the same faces, even though it's bigger and denser than a lot of, you know, main streets. It's a lot of similar feel. Unless you're downtown regularly, so it's a lot better to support the community to go shop at these stores than Fleet Farm or other places.
Okay, so we are
I
going
won't
to
rag on Fleet
disagree
Farm.
there, right? Yeah, Fleet Farm. Sorry, Rocky.
You can go there for any reason.
Yeah, that's right. You could go there on a date if you wanted to. Exactly. So Fleet Farm's, yeah, it's an icon for us. Sorry.
But no, I mean, so you mentioned parks, but parks are great because you can go by yourself. You can go as date night. You can bring the kids, and it's any season. And that's what I tried to love about downtown too. I check the walking patterns outside, and people still go outside in the winter. We talk about winter in Fargo, and
Do you track that too?
yeah, we track that.
Oh, wow.
And so I mean, people walk around. It's pedestrian friendly, and so
Sure.
the streets get cleaned right away. Sidewalks are cleared. We got, you know, the skating rink at Broadway Square. We have the dike, sledding hill.
Yep.
So there's all sorts, a lot of cross country skiing. We've become like a resort destination for
Oh,
cross
yeah.
country skiing. That's,
Yep.
you know, they don't get the press and glamour, but it's that mountain biking, fat tire biking in the winter. And so it's interesting to think about us as a winter recreation destination, but it's something we should talk up more.
Well, and in the winter, like it's tough for sometimes, depending on the winter. This winter wasn't so bad. Kind of tough to get to town, but when we come to town, we come for the whole day. So it's things like that you can do for free that kind of keep you around,
Right.
to keep doing stuff.
You need that draw so that then people will come and spend money everywhere else. You know,
if you've got it,
that's
right?
how it works with tourism. Yeah. But no, so when we come back, we're going to talk about some things going on this weekend to look forward to. And we'll also just kind of wrap up with Tammy on talking about connection to downtown and why the whole region can come play in downtown. Welcome back with Rocky and Tammy on Rocky's Downtown Hour. I want to hit one event going on tomorrow. It's called the Day of Dignity. If you've heard about it, the Park District puts this on every year. There's been just a wealth of community donations leading up the last couple of weeks to this event, and it's a cool thing going on at Broadway Square. For those people in need, it's partnered with a couple dozen other nonprofits, but people that need can come get their basic supplies, get free haircuts, that sort of thing. So if you're driving downtown and wondering what's going on, it's about helping our community out and helping each other. And so we're all in this together. We all have our hard times, and so for those experiencing those hard times right now, that's a great day, and make sure you come on out for it. But also coming up this summer, we have the police picnic coming up on June 18th. That I know is a good time at Broadway Square and on 2nd Avenue there. We usually pack the house, and the police do a great job putting on that event, and it'll be a lot of fun. I think we'll have them maybe on next week to talk a little bit more about some of the fun things to go on there, and we can
Is it for police or?
no, it's
for the
public.
community.
Yeah.
Okay.
You kind of come meet police officers, you get your stickers, you have your kids walk through like the SWAT vehicle, all those fun things.
Sure. Cool.
I think they serve hot dogs or something at it as well. But we have Tammy Jo with us here, our rural resident from Cass County, talking about all the connections to downtown and the things to do. One of our longest standing traditions in downtown, it's the 49th annual Downtown Fargo Street Fair on July 18th through the 17th through the 19th this year. And so we're looking forward to that. Tammy, did you grow up going to the street fair?
Every year. Yep. We
Every year.
went.
What's your memory? What's the earliest memory of it?
I remember being short and seeing like boxes of shoes on the table. And I don't remember actually getting to buy shoes, but I remember seeing the shoes. And so I don't know why. That's what I imagine with it though. But now, so as an adult going to the street fair is a totally different experience because you're taller.
That's fair. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, your perspective has changed.
Yeah,
Literally,
that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, we when we first moved back before we had kids, and we got to like enjoy things, that you get. Every parent knows what that means.
Yep.
I just remember going back to the street fair again and be like, wow, the variety of vendors is amazing. It's crazy. All the different ideas that you see there, all the different artists that you can see. It's just like when we first moved back, I bought, I think 2 or 3 headbands from one. I still use them. They're amazing. They're my favorite headbands still. Like,
yeah, we have
great.
over 200 vendors at it. But to me, the best part is the host of the street fairs. We turn down about 100 people every year. So
really?
There's just a wealth of people that want to come. And so we try to keep out the unoriginal or the mass market stuff. But yeah, so there's something different. We try to, we have the favorites coming back, and there's always some turnover.
Yep.
But it's like, 70, 80% returning.
Yep.
And then you always have something new too. And it's fun to see, it's really a maker event. We talk about it as it used to be more of a fine art event, but I think it's kind of turned into makers. We have brewers, we have crafters, all those sort of things, candles and, all those type of things. 3D printing was one that was big this year. And we're trying to figure out is, when is 3D printing like just production, like mass market, and when is it creative? Yeah. When is it art? And so that's been really kind of interesting, the technology side of this. But yeah, so there'll be some things different, but something for everybody.
Sure.
Or just come and listen to some free music at the square and eat a corn dog and hang out, grab.
That is one thing I also remember is walking, right? And when you're a kid, like you're just like, oh, all I can see is tables and I'm walking. But as an adult, having a walkable space like that where you can just like absorb everything around you and look at new things, like that's really, it's so comforting. Right.
Yeah. And what I love, so, I mean, not just rural residents, South Fargo residents, everybody loves to just complain about parking in downtown. It's just kind of like what we do.
Yeah, the
it's
street
like,
fair like takes up a whole street.
It's kind of like complaining about the humidity or the weather. Oh, it would be bad. It'd be great if it wasn't for this wind, that type of thing. It's like when you come downtown, you just go, oh, the parking, it's one of those things. But okay, street fair, we get 100,000 people over 3 days. We close 8 blocks of parking on Broadway, right? But everybody seems to get there and find a spot. So I guarantee you on any random Wednesday, you can come down and find parking because during the street fair, everybody's there somehow.
And the shuttles are so nice. So like the shuttles for the street fair, brilliant, really easy to use, easy to get picked up on and park wherever you want. You don't have to walk really far at all if you don't want to.
Yeah, if you don't want to. Yeah, you don't have to walk the whole thing. You can walk a couple blocks of it. So yeah, I love the street fair, and I think it's a great way for people to experience downtown or re-experience it if you haven't been down in a while. It's a good excuse to get down there, try
and the
it.
food is always awesome. There's always so much
always
good
something
food.
different. Yeah, there's always something creative every year.
And that's the thing about downtown that I think that, okay, so family members have always gone to downtown forever, ever since we've lived around here, right? But every time I go, there's something different there. And that's one thing that means that you can keep going back, right? It's the opposite of Fleet Farm. You always know you're going to be able to find chicken feed at Fleet Farm, right? But downtown, you go and you've got maybe your 2 things that you're planning on doing, but there's other stuff that you don't plan on doing that you didn't even know was there, right?
I mean, that's the beauty of, a dense area too, where you're not going into a strip mall or a big box where you're going into one store and leaving.
Yep.
You're probably going to walk by a couple stores and go, oh, window shopping, right? Like that's classic window shopping. Like I like that. It's kind of like doom scrolling on social media these days. It's like
but
in
real
life. You can actually do that in real life, people. So that's great. Anyways, Tammy, thank you for coming on today, sharing some, perspective and stories of downtown. I think we're going to try to find some more folks to talk about the history of downtown and just some of the different stories of, Old Broadway celebrating 40 years. I think the title company is celebrating 40 years.
Didn't we used to have a streetcar too? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, the alleys. Yeah. The alleys actually have railroads through them and streetcars. And so, I mean, there's a lot of history there that people are connected to. And so we're excited, just excited for summer. Take a look at our calendar on downtownfargo.com if you're ever looking for what to do this weekend or plan ahead for the street fair or the Red River markets. We're just really looking forward to a great summer, and the weather's going to be amazing all summer. Everybody should wear sunscreen, be safe, those sort of things. But I just appreciate everybody checking in with us. And, downtown isn't just for downtowners. It's for everybody in the region. It's the front porch for the entire state. So if you live in the heart of the city or if you're out in Cass County or in Arthur, you can't take the train anymore.
Can't take the train.
You can bike a couple miles in.
I could try, or I'll just drive into town.
But also, downtowners should go out and enjoy the rural areas too. Experience both sides of life.
We have the Arthur Market coming up. The kickoff is soon, so.
Well, that's perfect. Let's check it out. Otherwise, we look forward to talking again next week. And again, if you ever have any interest in sending me an email, rocky@downtownfargo.com. Happy to get some suggestions for guests and anything else on your mind. We can talk about it on this show, and we'll address whatever there is to address and we'll need to do. But otherwise, we're looking forward to a great summer. Jeffrey Folcult is our next concert at Broadway Square on July 2nd. So before you head out for the long weekend someplace, you have Wednesday night free concert. We had about 500 people there this last Wednesday. So looking forward to just another great show and another great concert
and Street
season.
Fair is July 14th?
17th through the 19th.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll talk to you next Friday, everybody. Take care.